Hello, welcome to our podcast series When the Ass Speaks, You Should Listen. Overcoming Narcissistic Spiritual Abuse from the Pulpit. Today, we're talking about how church leaders sometimes misuse their power, affecting their followers' spiritual well being in a negative way. This is known as narcissistic spiritual abuse, where leaders put their own needs and their ego above the community, their congregation's well being. For example, you have a pastor who is demanding special treatment or using their authority for personal gain. I want you to just think about that, right? Demanding special treatment, using authority for personal gain. You can see that in a variety of different relationship dynamics, whether it's in your employment situation with various managers, supervisors, or other authoritative leaders, or you can find that even in a variety of different relationships, parental relationships or romantic relationships. But specifically what we want to do, we want to have the opportunity to really explore what does this look like in a church setting. And specifically, we want to have the opportunity to dive into a tricky tactic in narcissistic spiritual abuse called love bombing. This is when leaders control their followers by showering them with excessive affection, attention, and praise. Initially, they appear positive, and it can lead to an unhealthy level of dependency and control within the church. Imagine a pastor who constantly is praising certain members to make them feel obliged to follow their instructions. Sometimes you've heard or probably read the book in terms of the five languages of love, right? So certain spiritual leaders may learn certain things about their congregation members, and they may tap into the five languages of love to love bomb individuals to the point of causing them to feel more obliged to follow their instructions. For example, let's just take gifts. You have a pastor who knows that a particular individual is just loves gifts. That's their love language. Well, they continuously offer gifts oh, I was just thinking about you and I picked this up. And so with all the gifts that are being given from the pastor, the congregation member or the staff member then feels obliged to follow the instructions of the pastor because of the fact that they feel loved and supported, and that this particular pastor is speaking in their love language, right? So one of the things that we have to look at when we're looking at the five languages of love and love bombing, and how certain leaders control their followers by showering them with this excessive amount of affection, attention, and praise. What we have to take into consideration is that it's done in such a way where there's a power and control dynamic, and it can cultivate a certain level of codependency in the relationship. Codependency and love bombing often go hand in hand, with followers becoming overly dependent on their leader's approval and validation. This toxic loop reinforces the need for validation from the leader, leading to a harmful power dynamic within the congregation or amongst staff members. So let's explore the Cartman drama triangle. I talked about the Cartman drama triangle in previous videos. The Cartman drama triangle is a model depicting how love bombing can occur between leaders and followers. Leaders can play the rescuer role, right? Manipulating their followers with excessive affection. On the flip side, the followers may take on the victim role, seeing this love bombing as a genuine demonstration of care, which fuels the cycle of manipulation. So, in order for individuals to recognize the signs of narcissistic behavior and love bombing, they need to watch for leaders putting their interest ahead of the community's well being and then constantly seeking validation. To combat codependency and to cultivate a healthier church environment, it's essential to encourage autonomy and establish boundaries among congregation members, staff members, and a variety of different individuals who are in these different relationship dynamics. By nurturing emotional and spiritual awareness, which I've also talked about before in previous videos, we can develop a community based on respect and authentic connections. In real situations, love bombing might occur when a pastor praises specific members excessively to keep them reliant on approval. This can create a dangerous loop um, where followers seek validation from the leader, reinforcing an unhealthy power dynamic. It's crucial to reflect on the impact of narcissistic behaviors. It's crucial to look at, the dynamics of love bombing in our church communities. If we can commit to building spaces that's centered on genuine, authentic love, respect, and care for what everyone, we can be able to support the individual autonomy as well as the emotional intelligence that individuals need in order to cultivate a relationship that is rooted and grounded in the love of God first and foremost, a love of oneself in terms of finding the value in oneself, as well as being able to find value in others. If you remember, I talked about the cross in terms of how we relate to Christ as our center, God who we look up to, and then also to one another. We must empower congregation members. We have to empower staff members. We have to encourage one another to grow spiritually without falling victim to manipulation. We need to work together to create a church environment that fosters positive relationships and spiritual development for all people. So I hope you're able to just listen to some of the things that I've mentioned today. It's important once again to recognize those signs of narcissistic behavior and to really take into consideration these elements of love bombing that can occur for manipulative purposes and be able to recognize when that happens and how to break free from those behavioral practices. It's important that we do not develop codependent relationships with our spiritual leaders, but look to cultivate a healthy relationship with God, ourselves, and and the congregation members and our spiritual leaders in such a way where we can be able to not lose ourselves as we continue to be built up in the Word of God. And of course, it's always important to be rooted and grounded in the Word of God in order to be able to create a full or develop or cultivate a firm foundation in which you can stand upon, and then be able to recognize when you're engaged or being kind of I wouldn't say recruited, but groomed for a narcissistic spiritually abusive relationship dynamic where the leaders are trying to really be able to manipulate and control you. So this is Dr. Donetta Quinones. I'm from Dare You to Be You Counseling Services, and I am daring you to be you. Have a great day.